Hi, John. How are you doing?
Fine.
Good. Thank you for coming on and talking to me on my channel. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, so how many years were you athletic trainer in the NHL and pro hockey?
I was there from 1970 through 82.
For the Kings, correct?
Yes, yeah. I started in the Flyers organization
Mm-hmm.
uh, in their minor leagues. And from there, a job, the job came open in Los Angeles. And some people in Philadelphia helped me get it.
Nice.
And the rest is history.
So the Flyers organization was what city?
Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. So I mean the minor league. So you were
Oh,
with the Philadelphia Flyers also,
yeah.
correct?
I was in New Jersey with the
Oh, New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah, with the Jersey Devils of the old Eastern Hockey League.
Oh,
I was
wow.
there. I was there as a trainer, also as their as a goaltender.
Really?
And yeah, in those days, the in the Eastern Hockey League, the trainers were trainers and slash goaltenders.
So did you play games too?
Oh yeah,
Oh, nice. So when you were playing, who would be attending the bench for any injuries or anything equipment?
well, you sort of double down.
Uh huh.
It's an interesting concept. You
Wow.
travel on the road with 14 people, including yourself, and that was it
Huh.
on an old school bus.
3 lines. That's it.
Yes, and
Wow.
$4 a day meal money.
Wow.
And I used to sell sandwiches at the back of the bus, bologna sandwiches for 75 cents a piece.
Wow. Did you ever get like going to any training camps for the Flyers?
No,
No,
I,
just
I,
on the.
I was up with them 5 times my first year practicing with them. No.
Oh, you
They
did.
did bring, yeah, they did. I did get to practice them on 5 occasions
Wow.
in my first year in Jersey.
And
You got to
then,
remember, I just came out of the military. Uh, I had been playing junior hockey in British Columbia,
hmm
and I had to give that up because of my citizenship, because of the Vietnam situation. So I had to, and being draftable. So it was a matter of fact that I just had to come back from British Columbia from that and join the military
Wow.
or renounce my citizenship. So that was it. So I missed all my junior hockey, which hurt me
Yeah. At least
because
you got to play pro hockey, which is cool.
I was competitive. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so when you got the call to the Kings that year in 1970, who was on the team? That well-known players.
Well, there was Juha Whiting,
Uh huh.
uh, Butchie Goring.
Yeah, that's good.
Rogie came later, obviously, but
Marcel came later.
yeah, Mars came later, and then I had Mike Corrigan was there, and there was
Lonsbury, Ross.
Ross
Was he?
Lonsbury,
Yeah.
Eddie Joyal,
Uh-huh.
guys that are around the league a long time. Billy Flat,
Oh yeah, Cowboy Billy Flett. He came from the
yeah,
Flyers too.
yes, he went in that trade to the Flyers with Ross Lonsbury and Eddie Joyal.
Wow. Did you ever practice with the Kings at all when you were there, or were you?
Yes,
Oh, you
yes, I
did.
did.
Oh, how
Yes,
cool.
I did that in fact, the one building I practiced in, it was really funny. We were on the road, and Gary Edwards had a problem or something, and so with the flu or whatever. So we were in Toronto. So I got a chance in the old Maple Leaf Gardens.
Wow.
Yeah, I talk about it. It's an historical site, things you dream of when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know, here you are in this building, and then when I'm looking over at my bench area, who's sitting there watching me but Johnny Bauer?
Wow, how cool.
Yeah.
Did you get to dress on the bench? Were you on the bench for the game?
No, just in practice.
Just to practice.
Yeah, I got to know Johnny Bauer over the years, though. He was a really nice gentleman.
Yeah, seemed like it from the interviews I saw.
Yeah, class guy.
Yeah.
There were a lot of them then. There was 6 teams, and they went to 12 teams, and there weren't that many jobs. It was just the minor leagues were tough then.
Yeah.
The old American Hockey League, the old Central Hockey League, the old Western Hockey League. These were good development leagues, and they had guys who were ready to take your job. So it was an interesting business then.
Wow. And then
Yep.
did you see, for example, Bobby Clark when you were with the Flyers? Was he there?
Well, I knew Bobby very well. We played in a summer meat league up in British Columbia when we were kids.
Uh-huh.
He and Reggie Leach and I have been friends for years. So yeah, he was a very intense, competitive guy. I left there. I was going to be with the Kelowna Buckaroos, and I left them to go because of the Vietnam situation, and I had to leave. So Bobby went on to Flin Flon, and I was reading about Bobby and Reggie in their first year in Flin Flon when I was in Vietnam. So
Oh, man. Well,
amazing world.
yeah. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Wanted to ask you also about where did the Kings practice in the early 70s? Was it Culver City or was it a different rink in LA?
Culver City.
All the time?
Yes.
Okay.
45 Sepulveda Boulevard.
Yeah, I used to skate there when I was a kid.
Oh, my God.
So I was there.
He must have knew that fine coffee shop they had.
My parents owned it in '84 for about a year or so.
On the rink?
No, the coffee shop in the Culver
Really?
City rink. Yeah, it was around I think from '84 to '86, something like that.
And who ran the coffee shop for him inside?
We had a couple of workers, and then my parents would come and overlook it. And then
There was a lady there that used to come in and make sandwiches and burgers or whatever, And
in the '84 or so.
no, like in the 70s.
Oh no, yeah, no. My parents were there in the early '80s, and I skated there from probably '81 until about '86.
Did you know Aubrey?
Name sounds familiar. I knew the manager.
Aubrey
Joe.
Helloffs?
No, I knew I know Hans.
Yeah, Hans. Everybody knows Hans.
And Joe Seta, the manager.
Yes.
And who else? I mean, there was a bunch of people that ran the teams, and there was a figure skaters. Yeah.
Hans was a legend.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
Very nice man.
Yeah.
Do anything in the world for you.
Yes. I knew him since I started skating there, because we moved from Sweden, and then that was I think the second rink I skated at. The first one was Santa Monica off of Broadway.
Oh, wow.
Did the Kings ever practice in Santa Monica by any chance?
Not when I was with them.
No. Okay. Just wondering
No,
because that rink was there early, like mid '60s.
No, probably another time, but that wasn't me. I wasn't there then. And then my first year I worked with a guy named Norm Mackey. Who was,
I heard of him.
Yeah, he was feisty.
And you knew Bob Berry, the coach?
Oh, the poor soul? Yeah, he was my old roommate. Yeah, Bobby,
Wow.
yeah.
He was a good player too. He played for the Canadians for many years.
He's a hard worker.
Yeah.
Very hard worker.
And also, so the later '70s, like late '70s, was Dave Taylor. Dave Taylor came into the Kings.
Yeah, Stitch. Yeah. Stitch was the guy. We were in Culver City, and Davey and I have been friends for obviously a lot of years. But Stitch was. We had a kid with a first rounder we took that year by the name of Steve Clippendale, and we were at Culver City. It was training camp was winding down, and I knew on the grapevine I saw it was going to be between Davey Taylor probably and this guy Clippendale to see who made the club. They were that close.
Wow.
But I saw something in Dave Taylor that I didn't see in the other guy, as a person. And I saw, Davey Taylor was a guy that, he was programmable and he put it out there on the line every single shift. So we were upstairs in that old dressing room there. I think it was just Peter and I with him then. And, I told him right in the back of the room, he was the last one going on the ice. It was just him and Pete and I upstairs. And I told Davey right to his face, I said, I shouldn't be saying this to you, but it's coming right down to this, man. He says, it's between you and Clippendale, and I'm going to tell you straight. I want to see you make this club.
Wow.
And he thanked me, and he went out, and We had an hour practice and then a scrimmage. And in the scrimmage, he took on Steve Clipperdale and beat the shit out of him.
Wow.
He needless to say, he made the club.
Wow.
He showed he wanted it more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these are the kind of guys you want to have in a core of a hockey team.
Yeah. He was definitely loyal to the Kings. I mean, he was there his whole career. Number 18's retired, and he was captain. And he was a quiet guy. He didn't talk
Very
much.
quiet.
Yeah.
Very quiet, but you don't measure that with character. And he had character.
Yeah. Wow.
And he proved it game after game after game. And then when he got, when Bobby Berry came back from that minor coaching stint he had down in Springfield, and he brought Charlie with him. That was the end of it all there. That Triple Crown line was born, and watch out.
What year was that? What year did the Triple Crown line form?
I think 74, 75, if I remember right.
Okay, mid-70s. So when Marcel got traded from the Red Wings to the Kings, that was the year they got Simmer.
Yeah, it was shortly after that we got, Mars had played, he had Gene Carr for a while playing up there with him, which was good. But there was something about Charlie and his hands. He had great hands.
Yeah.
And he had a guy like Davey Taylor who owned the corners. I mean, he took hit after hit after hit. He wasn't that big of a guy. And he'd go in there and he'd dig that puck out and he'd get in front of the net. And then you got Mars, who loved to score. And the next thing you know, you got ham and eggs rolling everywhere.
The amazing thing people don't know, that line, each guy had 50-plus goals. People don't know that.
Yeah, they were deadly.
I think it's one of the best lines in hockey. I mean, they stayed together for many years.
Incredible.
Yeah. You just don't see that today. You just don't see that anymore.
You don't see that anymore.
No.
You got three guys with three big hearts.
Yeah.
And you don't measure that. It's just there.
Yeah. And
just turn them loose.
And you had Rogie in the net. He was amazing.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah.
One of the best in the world.
And he wasn't very big either. I mean, but he played well at that, that era was different with a heavy gear too.
Rogie had big balls.
Yeah.
He liked to stop the puck. And great person. Great person besides.
Yeah. There was a lot of tough guys that played. You guys had Dave the Hammer Schultz.
Yeah, Davey. I know Davey really well. We were together there in the East, and he's a character. Different guy off the ice, though. Completely different.
Really?
Yeah. One of the nicest people you ever want to run across.
I remember seeing him beat up two Rangers at the same time.
Oh, he could get it down. Davey didn't mind. The interesting thing about Davey was I played with his brother Ray, and his brother Ray was tougher than him.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. His brother Ray was also a better hockey player than him. Believe it or not, I just never got the breaks that Davey got.
But he still had skill. I mean, he was scoring 20-plus goals a season, even as tough as and he had like 4,000 minutes in penalties, something like that.
Yeah. But you put him on a line with Bobby Clark, and you're going to get a broom, and he'll get scored 20 goals. He was just an amazing athlete. He really was.
Yeah. I got to ask you, were you there for the time when Randy Holt got the 67 penalty minutes in one game?
Yes, I was.
How is it possible to get 67 minutes? I just never saw the game, but just wondering, I know there's a record for it.
He had a double game misconduct. and he had a couple of penalties for 5 minutes for five, and he just slashed it, and he had it all. But the amazing thing about Randy Holt, a lot of people don't realize, the guy could play hockey too.
That was a good defenseman.
Yes, and he had a left hook that would rocket you. I mean, so fast.
Wow.
And he could take a shot. That was the amazing thing. He could physically take a shot.
Wow.
Amazing guy. It still is. It still is.
So
very good hockey mind, though.
Yeah. So when he got to 67 minutes, well, how much of the game did he really play?
Well, he got ejected after that.
Did he get at least one period in of game time? Or?
Yeah. We everybody got ejected then. We were down to like 9 players.
Really?
After all that, after what Steve Jensen went crazy, and Bert Wilson went crazy, and we had some tough kids out there. I mean,
Yeah.
Bert was one of the toughest guys you want to run across.
And Steve Jensen used to fight too.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys had a
yeah,
tough team. Kings were tough.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was with Steve Jensen on Team USA, and he just he never changed. He was just a big kid, and he could really skate. That was the thing.
Yeah.
That was his forte. He could really skate. He was like 6'2", 210 pounds. He's a good sized power forward.
Yeah. And like today's players compared to back then, it was a completely different game. People don't realize how much the intensity, the hitting, like it was just back and forth. It wasn't like today. Would you say?
No, you're right. You're 100% correct. It's a different game. The whole business has changed, and maybe for some reasons a good thing. But the game to me, with the removal of the red line, is even more dangerous now than it was before.
Yeah. A lot of guys colliding.
Now that in the high speeds, I mean,
Yeah.
they're really flying now. This speed is the big thing with
Yeah.
the development of these kids. You look at some of these European players they brought over. These kids can really fly.
Yeah. The equipment's different too. It's a lot lighter.
But lighter, better.
Yeah.
The goalies, everything has changed on the goalies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything. I mean,
Yeah.
you can have a 160-pound guy, and he looks like he weighs 240 pounds, and he's got reflexes like a cat. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of don't like the way it's going right now. The way it's going towards, because I believe that the hitting should stay in there. And
I'm sorry?
I don't like the way the hockey's going towards, which way it's going towards, where they're trying to get rid of the fighting and the hitting. They just want to make it a finesse league, and sometimes it gets more stick work when you do that.
If Batman gets away with that crap, then he's going to ruin the game. Fighting's always been a part of this game. You got a rink that's 200 by 85, and it's enclosed, and you've got high intensity and a lot of high emotion brewing out there. And, and you're banging heads. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's a tough business.
Yeah. And so, when you were there, so did you have to deal with a lot of injuries, or was there as many concussions, would you say, as today?
Well, I don't think we saw concussions then like we do today. I mean, things have changed a lot. It's like the night Rogie got hit in the mask there in Cleveland. It took a while for him to come back off of that. And I'm not quite sure he was ever the same again after that blow.
Yeah.
I mean, that really hit him. I don't know if you remember that.
Good.
I don't know if you remember, but and, that was a crushing blow.
Wow.
Just right outside the hash marks, and it was a high riser. And boy, it was like Stemmer was the first guy to him, and Stemmer said he didn't look good.
Is it the masks didn't protect as much as they have today? Today's a lot better. What they got?
Yeah. Yes, the masks are much better today.
Yeah. What do you think of, like, besides they removed the red line, I see more concussions now. Guys have visors and everything. There's a lot more concussions. Do you think it's the equipment? One NHL player said it was the equipment is a lot more plastic.
I think when you're dealing with injected foams, these are areas of research that they never really have gotten to in depth like they need to. They're thinking one serves all, and I'm not certain it's that way. I think that there's something within it that if they can make it so it would change to the individual and the design of it, it might be different.
Yeah.
But I don't like the way it subjects the guys in general to the injuries. I mean, I'm seeing too many.
Yeah.
And at high frequency. I mean, it's just this like this thing the other day. I've wondered for years why somebody hadn't developed this thing when that kid when the skate got his throat slit.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that too.
I see that come along and be developed. It's like wearing a turtleneck sweater. I mean,
yeah.
It's not a physical thing that's going to impede you at all. In fact, if it could stop a razor blade, then it's well worth wearing.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. Now, if the league gets behind that, I would respect it. I just don't like some of the crap they're doing with all the rules.
No, me too. They have to let the guys play, but the checking. One thing is when the guys are coming into the league, I think as kids they never got enough experience with taking a hit, so they turned the wrong way, and that never
Exactly.
happened before. I mean, you watch hockey all the years, you never see a guy turn his back, and today you
No,
see that every game.
every game.
Yeah, it kind
You
of
know.
upsets me that why aren't they teaching them how to protect themselves along the boards? They're not doing enough checking.
Well, if you know, as a kid, you counted if you were watching it, or in the United States, if you're watching midget hockey or junior hockey or juvenile hockey back in the 70s, 80s, you saw checking implied. The
Yeah,
kids grew up with that.
yeah,
It was part of the game that they were well aware of. Today, I see guys, they get a scratch and they're on the ice like they're trying to pop a pimple to get blood out to make it
yeah.
look like they got a 5-minute major on them. I'm looking at myself, what a bunch of pansies.
Yeah, no one ever did that back then. I never saw that.
No,
No.
you would have got laughed off the ice.
Yeah, it's just completely different. And when I grew up, I played checking from the start. I never played non-check hockey all my life, so I knew how to take a hit and how to go.
Yeah,
They used to the first thing they taught us. They said,
exactly.
"Don't turn your back." That's the first thing they ever told me. They didn't say stick on the ice. They didn't say bend your knees. They said, "Don't turn your back." That's the first thing they ever told me. It's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
keep your head up.
Yeah, yeah. It's
You
very
know,
different. Yeah, I wanted
put
to
your head
ask you.
down.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Put your head down. You're going to be somebody's lunch.
Well, that's what's happening now because they're playing non-check hockey for the first 4 or 5 years, and then they go with their head down, and then when you get to like bantams and midgets, now they're looking down. I see guys in the NHL cut through the middle with their head down, and
Yeah, even college.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, no, just yeah. I want to ask you. So, what do you think of the incident that happened when the guy jumped? Do you think it was accidental, or you think it was intentional? I don't know if you saw it or not.
I haven't seen it from the angles.
Hmm.
I don't know what the impetus of his body was at. And how he was. If it was a weight and balancing, if he's off guard. I don't like the fact that the media has jumped right into the middle of this thing and not really are aware of what kind of an individual. They're only going on hearsay on a
Yeah,
guy. That's a character thing. I mean, you don't rush in and be judgmental on a kid like that. I mean, he's a young guy.
yeah.
What do they expect out of him? My God, if he did do something that was wrong, then he doesn't belong in the game.
Yeah, I think he jumped. Me personally, a lot of people said intentional. There was some that said accidental. So I've talked about
You're,
this probably about 50 people at least, and there's some that say it was accidental, but most of them said it looked like he really jumped, and it takes a lot of effort to jump with skates. It's not that easy.
yeah, no, you're right about that.
Yeah.
No, like I said, I did not see it
Oh,
in slow motion or step by step view. If you got that many people ascertain that he did in fact do something that was inappropriate,
yeah.
then he doesn't belong in the game.
No,
There's
no. It's sad. It's sad for the guy, and I don't know too much about the British League. I've never heard of these two players either. And
Well, it
yeah,
needs to be addressed immediately. I mean, if this
yeah,
guy's out of line, then they got to step in and do something now, not deliberate back and forth because of due process. But if
yeah,
they did in fact know that this guy did do something wrong, then they got to get him out of there.
yeah.
That's all.
I don't think he's gonna
Go,
play again. I just don't see it.
he should be barred. Just
Yeah,
get rid
yeah,
of him.
yeah. So when you played, did you ever play without a mask?
Yeah, when I was a kid, yeah.
So in your kids' leagues, there was goalies had no masks.
Yeah,
Wow.
when I was 6, 7 years old. But then I got a mask, and at the time I was a stick boy with the Seattle Totems
Hmm.
and the old Western Hockey League, and I was like 9 years old or 10 years old at the time. I'd skate around with those guys, and then when I was 13, I started being a practice goalie with them because they only had one goaltender.
Oh, really? How cool is that? Wow.
Yeah, so I got for 13-year-old, I got playing with some guys when there was only 6 teams in the National Hockey League. So I had some pretty good caliber guys I was skating around with down there and practicing with, and it really helped me with my game. But went against kids my own age in the leagues I played in there. I was a dominant force. There's no doubt about it. They got me to a higher level.
Yeah, that definitely helps. I wanted to let people know that the Western Hockey League that you're talking about is not the junior league. It's a professional league. Back in the day, it was called the Western League.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
old Western Hockey League.
yeah. So it was real professional players. It was.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
Spokane, Portland, Edmonton, Victoria, Los Angeles Blades,
All the Blades. Yeah.
Salt Lake City, Denver Invaders. It was a good league.
Did you travel with the team, or were you just a stick boy at the local rink?
For the home games, basically, there were a couple occasions where they took me to Victoria and to Vancouver and to Portland.
So in Vancouver, where did the Vancouver team play out of? Was it the Pacific Coliseum or was it another arena?
It was the old Vancouver Forum,
Oh, okay.
and it was an old barn.
Wow.
It seated maybe 3,500 to 4,000.
That was it. How about LA? Where did they play in Los Angeles?
The sports arena.
Oh, at the sports arena. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
San Diego had their building. That was a nice minor league building. It still is.
oh, San Diego Sports Arena is still there.
Yes.
That holds like
Yeah.
16,000. It's a good size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So also, I think Saskatoon Quakers had a team, right?
I'm sorry?
Saskatoon had a team.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Saskatoon Quakers, they were called the Saskatoon Quakers.
Yeah, it was in the old Western Hockey. Yeah,
Yeah,
Edmonton Flyers, Saskatoon.
Did you guys
Quakers.
bus or did you fly?
Oh, we flew.
Oh, really? So they were
Yeah.
flying back then. So it's not like the
we
American
flew.
League.
No, in the West Coast, out of Seattle, we would bus to Spokane, to Vancouver, to Victoria, Portland, and the other cities we had to fly to.
Okay, so they did fly back then too. I wasn't
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
I wasn't sure if they were busing. It's quite of a distance.
Yeah, well, the teams didn't make that much money in those days.
Yeah.
The ticket prices were, $1.75 for a ticket. My God, it was you only had so much capital to work with, plus pay the player salaries.
Yeah. Yeah. What a great experience for you to be out there with the pros at that age. That's unbelievable.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah. Not today. That would never happen. That would never happen.
I used to cut school to go down there. My God.
Did you get to keep any souvenirs like sticks, jerseys from the guys? Did you get anything?
Yeah, I got stuff in storage that I've had for years, but it wasn't a good experience with the fact that I met some really wonderful people. That was the main thing. Some lasting relationships came out of it.
Yeah.
That I'm still very close with.
That's awesome.
To this day, the ones that are still alive. I mean, Guile Fielder, the legend of the Western Hockey League, probably one of the better players that ever played the game.
Yeah.
He used to write to me in Vietnam about once a month, him and his wife. So, it was nice to be in touch with him, even though I was far away.
He played for the Red Wings, correct?
Guile?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard of him. He played in the, I think, 50s.
Amazing player.
Really?
He was the Wayne Gretzky of that era.
They didn't give him much more time up in the NHL. Was because it's just this teams.
No, Guile was the type that he was in the playmaking. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a guy that could do the hitting. He was just an all around player. So he had, like Gretzky, they had a couple big wingers on each side of him, and that enabled him to do what he wanted to do. Just like Gretzky when he had his office open.
Yeah. The Kings played against Wayne. How was it against him the first year? Did the players know a lot about him or not really?
Well, it was kind of a fielding process, but it didn't take very long for him to establish himself. I knew Messier as a kid in Portland. His dad played there.
Oh, really?
His dad Doug played there.
Uh-huh.
And I would travel down there with the Totems, and Mark was just a kid at the time, and just I got to know him there. And then when he turned pro, I saw him a few times here in LA after games. I had a beer with him, and he'd be down because the team was getting their butts kicked then.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Mess, it's not going to be this way forever. You just got to play him.
Yeah.
And look what happened. The guy, he had a great career.
Yeah. Were you there the night of the Miracle in Manchester?
No, I was listening to it. I wasn't there for it.
Not that one.
No,
Okay.
that was a tremendous comeback. A
Yeah.
tremendous comeback.
Yeah.
I mean, it made Daryl's career.
Yeah. He's known for that goal for sure. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it made his whole career.
Yeah.
He was a minor leaguer, and all of a sudden, boom.
Change everything. One shot changed everything.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
But what a career he had, though. I mean, and even more so, on the microphone, he's done a great job.
Oh yeah,
and he's a hustler. He's a hustler. He's a guy who really took good care of himself when he was a player. I mean, physically, when you saw this kid at training camp, he was definitely in good shape all the time. He was addicted to working out.
That's all. Who else would you say had that same mentality for the Kings back in those days?
Dan Maloney.
Oh, okay, I've heard of him. He was a Toronto guy. Played for the Leafs too.
He was a mean, tough son of a bitch.
Wow. So
tough guy.
And when they came to camp, so a lot of them were out of shape. How long did it take them to get in shape and lose the weight and all that?
Well, those years in the beginning, our training camps would be like 6 weeks long.
Wow.
When Peter and I go to Victoria, we'd be there for it seemed like forever. Just forever. It took forever to whittle the team down. Had guys like Gilles Marat.
Yeah.
In his heyday, and we stayed at the Empress Hotel, and you got no refrigerators in our room. So in those days, you could buy beer in 12 packs. So we'd sneak them in the 12 packs. Gilles Marat did anyway, and he put them on his windowsill. so he got busted by Larry Regan. He spotted that out of his room where he had a 12 pack out of his windowsill. That ended that. We got in trouble for that. And everybody paid.
Oh man.
Like little kids that got cut with their hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. I died laughing.
Everybody had their spots, though, right? I mean, just the rookies were fighting for their spots, but pretty much the vets pretty much knew they were on the team, correct?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I think the organization knew too. They were just looking for something to surprise them.
Yeah.
Oh. And once in a while, you'd get that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's what the draft did. Created good spots.
Yeah.
And and then when the league expanded, it really opened things up.
Do you think the league's watered down now with 32 teams?
Well, there's a lot more parity. I can tell you that. It's just, any team could probably win it now if you get on a high roll. It's just, they're just so close together.
Yeah.
You need a hot goaltender always, and that's the big thing.
Yeah.
You get hot with a guy between the pipes, and you can go a long ways.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, who's the best player you ever saw live?
The best live?
Yeah, like best player ever.
Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr, huh? Everybody said he was as fast as they say.
Yeah, he could turn on a dime and give you 9 cents change.
Wow.
Just he was good. So was Gordy.
Mm-hmm. Gordie Howe.
In two different ways. They were amazing.
Yeah.
I used to say in the 70s, and Bobby's a good friend of mine, and he knows my thoughts about his abilities.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to say in the 70s, I saw two great athletes in the 70s, Bobby Orr and Secretariat.
Oh.
Two great athletes.
Yeah.
Both of them were amazing.
Yeah. If Bobby was not hurt as much, I think he would have broken more records. He could have probably had 500 career goals.
He would have wrote the record book.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He was just he still is. He's an amazing individual.
Yeah. Seemed like
good
nice
guy.
Yeah. It's too bad
really
what
good.
Eagleson did to him. It's too bad that happened.
Eagleson was a jerk.
Yeah. A lot of
I knew there's something about him, he just struck as a phony bastard.
Yeah.
But, here again, he wasn't doing anything for the little guys. He was in there for the big guys.
Yeah.
And he took their money too.
A lot of guys like that. They were just conning the players. A lot of
Yeah,
agents. Yeah, not too
what
bad.
happened to Orr though was just devastating.
Yeah, he was
They
supposed to
had
own the team. I think eight. They gave him 18% stake in the team, but
yeah,
yeah,
and they didn't tell him.
no,
Eagleson never told him.
sad, terrible.
He, yeah, he didn't find out about it. Eagleson was in bed with Wirtz.
Yeah.
Everything out of Chicago. Eagleson was in bed with Wirtz.
Yeah, that they don't own it anymore, do they? That in Chicago,
The
or
Wirtz family,
they still own it?
The Wirtz family's still involved.
Oh, still own. Okay, so they still own the team.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rocky just died last year.
that's what I heard. So I wasn't wondering if they.
Yeah, Rocky was the son of Billy's, but they've had a lot of black eyes in the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Now they got that young kid. We'll see what he can do with him.
Yeah, I heard like for Bobby Hull, they didn't treat him right, is what I heard. When Bobby
Yeah.
Hull, yeah, yeah,
I look at some of the guys that have been through there, and just, they've had some tremendous players.
yeah. A lot of talent, but again, they don't honor them enough, for what they did for the club. That's the one thing that I heard.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah. John, I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking to me on my channel. It's a lot of great hockey history we learned.
Oh yeah, it was a fun business. It really is.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it. I really do. I was talking with Marcel the other day,
Uh-huh.
and I talked to Gary Simmons yesterday, and just you still stay in touch with the guys.
Yeah.
Talked to Peter last week. First time I talked to him in a long time.
Peter,
But,
Pete, or no Peter?
Yeah.
Oh, Pete Demers.
yeah, Snuffy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you talked to Snuffy, right?
Yeah, I did 2 interviews. I'm gonna see him tomorrow. He's coming over tomorrow.
Well, I hung that nickname on him, Snuffy.
I'm gonna call him Snuffy.
He'll know who you've been talking to.
Yeah, Gary was really nice to talk to. He had a lot of good stories. Cobra.
Who's that?
Cobra. Gary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an old roommate of mine. He's kind of very witty guy, really sharp.
Yeah.
And if you talk to Bobby Miller,
Yeah. Yeah, I've done 2 interviews with Bob.
another great person.
Oh, super nice. He has so many hockey stories. Unbelievable. It's such a good guy.
Yeah, when you see him next time, just tell him hi, Steamo.
Stemo, okay, I will.
I hung that nickname on him.
You're the one who. I've heard the nickname, but I never told him that.
Yeah,
Stemo.
I'm the one that handed it to him. Alan Malamud, the late Alan Malamud. I nicknamed him the Hulk.
Everybody had a nickname. That's fun.
Well, you sit on a commercial flight between those two, and you get your meals. And me, I used to just go poke at my food, and you got those 4 beady eyes coming down on your plate. You find out who they are in a hurry.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Stemo
fun.
is a legend.
Oh yeah.
Had a lot of fun with him on the road, doing different stuff. He's just a fun guy, and
Yeah.
another guy that understands the game very well.
Very well. He's the best announcer in hockey ever.
Without a doubt.
Forever. The best.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
He really worked hard at it too,
Yeah.
and still does, I'm sure. I haven't talked to him for a while.
When we did the interview, I asked him how you prepare for the games, and he told me what he does, and he has, he goes over it at night. And
He really goes over.
yeah, to know the names and everything. Like, he did really well. Well, we missed him on the TV.
Stemo's a really well prepared guy, and
Yeah.
he always made sure he could pronounce the names right on the opposite teams.
That's what he told me. Yeah, that was the one thing that he did.
He's very clear about that in his delivery.
Yeah,
That he did that, and that's a testament to him.
yeah.
I liked him very much. I
Super
still
nice.
do.
It's a nice family. We got to meet everybody.
Oh yeah,
Really nice.
Yeah, he and Judy are just incredible people.
Yeah.
How's he doing? How's he doing now in retirement?
He's good. He goes to some games sometimes. It doesn't go to every one of them, but he does go watch. He pays attention to them. He's got his grandson playing hockey, so he goes and watches his games.
Good.
I talk to him like maybe about once a month on average, I just call to check up on, see how he's doing. It's
Yeah,
really
he's not
nice.
getting any younger.
He still looks the same. Bob's.
Oh yeah,
I said, "What's the secret, Bob? Tell me."
good living.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I got
I
to
used to tell him
try.
good.
Yeah, I.
I used to tell him. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yo, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I used to tell him good living and lots of good sex, and you'll be living a long time. And he used to laugh. I don't know about that, he said, but he said I'm going to live a long time. He's a good guy.
Very nice.
I love Judy.
Yeah, nice family. Very nice. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. The kids were raised right.
Yeah, definitely. I got to meet his daughter too. Yeah.
Oh, she's sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
They have a wonderful family there.
Yeah. The hockey community is always good people. Like everybody knows
Yeah.
everybody. You know, it's a
That's
good.
right. It's a big family, really.
Yeah. Once you're in the hockey community, you're part of the family. That's how it is.
Yeah, and when you're done with it, it's still there.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely.
it's amazing the number of people I still stay in touch with.
It's awesome. Even after this many years, they still call you, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, my God, I've been out of it since 1982.
Yeah.
And I'm still talking to people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of years.
Yeah.
I built 2 businesses around it, and just I've done a lot of things with it. I've met a lot of wonderful people in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Good people for sure. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
really good times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I could help you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything. And we'll talk to you soon. You have a happy
need anything-
Thanksgiving.
If you need anything else, just give me a holler.
You got it. I appreciate it.
Or you have any more questions, don't worry about it. Just send me a text. I'll get back to you.